It's time for Mike Erie's show. He's ripping off Cullinane. He wants to find some fans to talk to, 'cause he's lonely on Saturdays. Mike was told to come up with something, and I guess this is what he did. We should give him some points for trying. Kirk wants to know what the point of this is. Just a warning for all you guys. You'll never get this hour back in your life. This is Mike and the Minifans. Mike is talking with you. This is Mike and the Minifans. This is Mike and the Minifans. Mike is talking with you. This is Mike and the Minifans. This is Mike and the Minifans. Mike is talking with you.
Mike and the Minifans on a fun Friday here, a special Friday show because I am your pussy-whipped host, Blind Mike. Good to be here with you folks. We've got I would say we've had an action-packed, I would describe it as an action-packed week. You forget when Portnoy was on. That seems like months ago at this point. So a lot has happened. We've got a lot to get to. And I guess Menner's rejoined us, and I'll be arguing against him. He'll be defending my girlfriend, and I'll be arguing with him. So that should be fun. But the gang's all here. Bring them in, Justin. And I will say, bring on the comments, because we do have BA back with us. So any mean-spirited comments, feel free to fire away. But we've got Lauren Lynn, Menners, and making his debut is Murchison's Mouse. What's going on, guys?
Thanks for having me.
Oh, my pleasure. Is Menners in?
Oh, yeah, I'm here. I'm here.
What's up, buddy? Running late. This guy's a real fucking diva now. He gets 4 viewers on YouTube, and he thinks he can run late to this show. What the hell's going on?
I locked myself out of my studio, and lucky someone had a spare key, so that's all.
Well,
I'm here.
Thank you.
You ready to not be kicked around anymore by Steve?
We'll see. But
your girlfriend kicking you around, you got Kirk and Steve kicking you around. You're copying it from
get your
both
break,
ends.
Menners. I'm a man without a country. But so I got Lauren's take on everything. We did the Lady Minifan show the other night. I think I know what Menner's take is more or less. But I've not really talked to Murchison's Mouse about it. So on your debut, give me your take on the whole Alba situation, because I think that's what everyone wants to get to, at least with me first.
I agree. I think you're in a pretty tricky position. It's relationship stuff. And
Alba, shut the fuck up. The man is speaking. Had enough of your shit this week.
The relationship thing, the looking for the apartment thing was the one thing that sort of got me. I was like, all right, that's a sort of, I can give her that argument, but the birthday party,
but you know what? I'm taking the anti-Alba side here tonight. Come at me, motherfuckers.
I'm going to get to my anti-Alba side.
Pussy, Mike, as always. As soon as Kirk and Steve, put a little bit of pressure on you, you caved so easily.
No, I'll tell you, I genuinely disagree with.
I would be so pissed off at the way you treated the relationship.
He does want to try to please everybody.
I genuinely disagree with some things she did. So, like the apartment thing wasn't a real issue. For example, we looked at 2 apartments this week, one yesterday, one today, or one the other day, one today. And the one today we kind of liked and we might want. So there's a chance we wouldn't even need to look at apartments next week. That was kind of bullshit that she was using against me. The coronavirus thing was bullshit. And
the coronavirus thing was bullshit. For her to bring that up at this point now, after you going to work all this time, and that was.
Now here's my argument against her is that my mistake was going to Stephen Kirk and saying, we got to figure out a way to work this out. What I should have done is gone to Alba and said, we got to figure out a way to work this out. Because who gives this stupid fucking birthday party? Jesus Christ. I don't want to, I'm going to be miserable tomorrow. It's going to be a whole, but what I should have done is said, this is my fucking job. My boss is telling me to go. That's what I need to do. So I understand that argument completely. What I did is try and get out of it the wrong way. I should have tried to get out of this stupid fucking birthday thing because I can understand the reason. I get the value of the Latino Kirk and Will thing. That's actually funny to have me miserable on that trip. I get the value there. I don't get the value of me being around tomorrow. Where I'll defend her is it's a culmination of things. It's not this one thing I'm missing tomorrow. It's that, there's Mike and the Minifans I should have missed instead of this. That's what I should have done.
Brainwashed, Mike. You've been fucking brainwashed. All you wanted to do was go either one day later, Sunday,
Right.
and because that didn't, make Kirk happy, you just jump, roll on your back like a dog and, show your belly to the world. I mean, fucking have some balls for a change. There's nothing unreasonable with you saying, I have made a commitment to my girlfriend this Saturday night. Let's go Sunday morning. There's nothing wrong with that. But, you get Kirk and Steve in your head and you think you're in the wrong when actually you're not. Like, it is right in relationships. If you commit to something, you stick to it. I mean, this trip could have waited one day. We're not talking about canceling it altogether. We're not talking about some huge thing that the whole show needed to be at. Yep. It was just something to amuse Kirk and Steve, and you put that ahead of your relationship. And if I was Alba, I would be pissed.
Yeah, but I think that's why she is pissed. Go ahead, Warren.
But if you are going to be a date to a birthday party and you're like, yeah, that's cool, but then something work-related comes up, I think that's a valid reason to not go.
It should be. It certainly should be.
I was thinking the apartment.
Yeah, I don't even know if that's a somewhat valid excuse, but it was kind of just thrown in there as building her case. She's a good lawyer. Yeah. This was building her case.
Okay, it sounds like it.
Yeah. So.
All right, well, fuck her then.
Now we're rallying the troops here. I think Lauren is right. And where I fucked up in the relationship aspect of it, and that's maybe Kirk mentioned today that he thinks I'm sick of talking about it. I'm more sick of dissecting my relationship because I don't think it's that interesting. But I'm not sick of I deserve the abuse that I'm getting. But where I fucked up is, say there are 5 Mike and the Minifans that I felt like I couldn't cancel for some reason. Because I think if I cancel Mike and the Minifans or drop the mic or this stupid shit that nobody watches, that I'm going to be looked at as lazy. Which is true to an extent, but I could have skipped a week. So what happened is I built up over time all these little things I missed, and this one happened to be the one where she exploded, and it also happened to be one that we talked about on the show. So I fucked up on both angles. Like I was trying to please everybody. That's where I fucked up.
It got you. Yeah, you didn't end up pleasing anybody, as it turns out. Not even yourself.
Does that make sense to you, Menners, or am I still a pussy here?
Well, you're still a pussy, but
it doesn't make sense to me. I think you've been manipulated completely. This is not some important work trip. Somehow you let them to turn it on you that you hadn't asked for a holiday for the last year. When the issue is they wanted you to go on a stupid road trip for their amusement. As I said, it was like Portnoy throwing a wallet at you. That's what they wanted you to do. And then you say, look, I've committed to something. Can I go the day later? And because Kirk doesn't get what he wants, he gets annoyed. And you go, okay. And you just take it. Like, fucking grow up. Like, you did nothing wrong. If this was like fly to LA and go on some TV show for the show, then, okay, that's important. Getting in a fucking car with LK and Will is not worth sacrificing your relationship. And it could have been later.
Yeah, I do think I could have gone a day later.
That's just silly. The fact that it's up against a birthday party is just as silly as a trip to Florida. Yes. We're dealing with 2 very unimportant things here.
If I said I had a wedding or something,
christening maybe, right? A birth of a child.
How are you saying that's unimportant to Alba? Like, in relationships, there are certain things that are important to each other. One of them might be taking your boyfriend to a party. I mean, that's not unreasonable.
It is important to her, but to Kirk and Steve, it's not going to look like that.
But I'm saying you're being manipulated.
I'm saying, how many jobs can you go to your boss and say, I have a birthday party on Saturday, I can't work?
How many bosses come to you 3 days before and say, we want you on a road trip with LK and Will and just go away for a week so we can torture you? I mean, fucking hell.
But that's the job sometimes. That's just that's the role that I'm in.
Could have been Sunday. Again, you let yourself get pushed around.
It could have been Sunday. It could have been Sunday, but what I should have done there is work it out with Latino Kirk and Will beforehand and said, can we go Sunday? And then present to them. I panicked.
Manipulated. You're letting them twist you into
I think that would have been reasonable. That would have taken care of everything.
Probably. But I just panicked and said, I went to Steve first, and that's where I fucked up because I made it a thing. That I do believe. I get what you're saying, Menners, where I'm coming off like I'm this brainwashed fucking, but I should have gone to those guys first and Alba first and said, is there a way we can fucking make this work for all of us? Instead of saying, Steve, my life is going to fucking end if this actually happens. Because that's what I did. I overreact. I was like, the world is coming to an end.
Are you sure you just didn't want to go to Florida and you just are throwing Alba under the bus completely?
Can I tell you something, Lauren? Right now, in this household, I would love nothing more than to be in Florida tomorrow. It would be paradise.
Well, I have to wonder,
Yeah,
what is it going to be like tomorrow when you go to that party and, she knows you don't want to go and it caused all this,
Oh, it's going to be rough. It is.
Yeah.
It's going to be rough.
It's gonna be intense,
Snuggling up next to Latino Kirk has never looked so good.
I would in listening this week to a bunch of stuff. I guess you said and her bringing up the apartment thing. I'm more concerned about the longevity of this relationship than I've ever been.
Ouch.
Well, aren't we all? And we're looking.
I'd like Mike to start going on
be careful.
Minifan Bachelorette show. I think that would be a great mix.
That's not a bad idea. That's not. I want to bring that up in a second. I want to talk because I meant to talk about that with the ladies the other night, but I forgot to get to it. But I will defend Alba in this sense, and the reason I defended her on the show a little bit is because she puts up with a lot of shit as well. She helps me with a lot. She helped me set up here tonight. She went to that Dan Kennedy thing. She drives me. She puts up with a lot of shit as well. So at the time I felt like I can't ask her to do this, but again, it's my job, so I should have asked her.
Yeah, I mean, I think you make a valid sort of relationship point. And deep down, you could hear it every now and then. Kirk was like, "I know, I've been there, I was there." He's just busting your balls, but he does get the game the balance that you've got to work.
I think he's annoyed and also understands, unless I'm totally off. But there is, I'm in a spot where I don't want to miss shows. I don't want to upset my girlfriend. I don't want to look like I'm lazy. I don't think it's, I know they say I do this woe is me thing. And I don't notice that I do it. So maybe I'm doing it right now, but I don't think it's unfair to say I was in a tough spot and I also fucked up. Does that make sense?
Perfect sense.
All right.
Manners?
I've said all I have to say.
Lauren, any thoughts on this issue?
BA is going to come in.
Being in a position where you're putting your entire relationship out there for everyone to hear, it's going to get picked apart, and that's not easy to do. So it's kind of bound to happen.
Well, I say unleash the hounds, bring in BA, and see what the real critics who will actually give me some feedback here.
How are you? How are you?
What's up, BA? I've missed you.
Hey, I missed you too. Best duo at KMS, Blind Mike BA. I think.
Damn right, baby.
Damn right. Menor, purchase some else. Love the rocking chair. The rocking chair is awesome. Lauren, how are you? Menor,
Thank you.
So Mike, I think one thing, as Notorious B.I.G. said, fuck bitches, get money. You should.
I like that.
Yes, that's all that needs to be said.
I like that.
A lot of people are saying,
cunts.
hey, Menners, this is my moment to shine. A lot of people are saying, Menners, if you got locked out of the studio, you should have went through the doggy door. The doggy door.
He could have fit through the mail slot.
Yeah, a lot of people.
My height wants to get through, but width-wise, my belly is
That's true.
waddling in the middle of this door.
People are wondering, is Alba at her parents' house or is she at Lowe's working?
she's grouting the tile right now.
She's grouting? Oh, good for her. Best of both worlds. Someone said Steve would have handled this situation not nearly as well as Mike would. Kirk made when Kirk made fun of Steve's wife. So Mike, kudos to you. You got one guy.
I don't know if that's true. Steve's wife has been brought up, and Steve's wriggled out of it before.
But yeah, from the comments wise, I don't think many people really give a fuck about this. That's,
all right, good. Then it's the perfect time to move on. See,
right.
I get all worked up because I'm like, if I don't talk about it, then I look like I'm not talking about it. But I'm kind of over it, so I don't know. I'll talk about it as much as you guys want. If the comments want me to go back to it later in the show, BA, let me know.
I will. See ya. And Lauren, how are you?
Hi.
BA is on quite a delay.
You two flirting with each other. It's disgusting.
Incredible.
So Lauren, we brought it up a minute ago. This Middle-Ladies Bachelorette, where do we stand and how do I get involved? Where do I send my application?
Okay, I'm not going to allow that. You know, I'm really not very involved in the Bachelorette process. I'm kind of torn right now as to if it's interesting content to people who aren't in it. So we just kind of give a little update. Most of these people, I still don't really know who they are. So we're trying to work through that to make sure that it's interesting for everybody.
Right.
I think it would be.
I think it would. Yeah, why not?
And
I mean,
who are the men involved? Like, are they any of the heavy hitter parody accounts, or who are these people?
Well, she's listed them off, but we haven't seen any of the video content, so I don't know.
That's the key.
I know that John from Scranton put in his name, and BA has put in his name, and a few other people that are on Twitter, but I don't really know them. So
yeah, you should give it a try. Have a couple people known, a couple unknowns, and then don't worry too much about if people that don't watch your show would like it, because I think the people that do watch would like. They know you guys. They have some relationship with you, so I think they would like it.
And it's kind of cool because I think the next content we're going to look for will have the fans decide what they want these guys to do. So that should have a fun element.
Nice. Awesome. I want him to go to Florida with Will and LK.
Not a bad idea. Not a bad idea.
Where'd you come up with an idea like that? It's brilliant.
A million of them, like.
So the other big thing this week was in my opinion, one of my favorite things ever was meeting Gina. So the whole Ellie Schnitt, Michaela, and Gina saga. Lauren, what'd you think of that as a woman? When you see these young girls, I kind of blamed colleges brainwashing them. Maybe it's social media. I don't know what it is, but what do you think when you see girls like Michaela and Ellie going off on social media?
Okay, so I'm older than they are, and I did not go to college, so I don't even feel like I live in the same universe as these people.
Right.
I actually thought of like putting some really heavy black eye makeup on my eyebrows and trying to come on today as Gina, but I don't think I could even pretend to act like that. I don't know how to.
Well, you would just define everything. You would describe what an imitation is. It's an imitation you see. So you might take a person. Gina is a human being. And what a human being is this.
They remind me of, the movie Miss Congeniality? And
yes.
they mock the beauty pageant as saying, like, we all want world peace. And this is kind of what it reminds me of. Like, yes, in theory, it's a good idea, but you can't say the hows and the whys and the what we're going to do. She literally says on her show, Ellie does, sign this petition. She doesn't even say what it is. That, in my opinion, is dangerous.
Yeah, just sign petitions in general. Just start signing them.
Yeah, if someone came to my door with a petition and said, sign it, and, she has a lot of influence. So I don't think it's wrong to ask questions and say, why don't you come on and actually explain yourself? And
it's tough because I feel bad sometimes because it's sort of a patronizing thing I do. I'm like, they're young girls. And I forget that they have this huge social media following, and Ellie has a huge podcast and all. Yeah. So I forget that they are influences in a way. And I kind of patronize them by saying, they're just young kids, even though they're essentially, Ellie's not that much younger than me. So it's like, I don't know why there's this instinct because she's small and cute, I guess, that you're like, you give her a pass, but that shouldn't be the case. I think some people were surprised that there wasn't a response from them on Thursday, but I think the way it was handled was kind of perfect, where there's nothing they could say back. It's just us mocking them. What are they going to say? Oh, that's not funny that I said there are reasons and not reasons. Like that
was great. That's
objectively hilarious.
Yes, exactly.
Manners, what did you think? I'm guessing you hated that episode.
No, I loved it. I was surprised Ellie didn't come on with you guys when you asked her on. I thought she would have come on and defended herself. It was very disappointing.
Same here.
Yeah.
So I don't know a lot about her. I don't know if she's a fighter in that way.
Yeah, I thought she was a friend of the show, though.
Yeah. So I think what happened with all that is like Ellie came on because it was kind of a joke around Barstool at the time. I wouldn't consider a friend of Kevin and Dan are friends of the show.
Of course.
Carabas would be a friend of the show.
Sure.
Those guys will come on, and if there's something that pisses Kirk off or whatever, they'll come on. Ellie doesn't really know who Kirk is. Now she has some idea, I imagine, but it's just so far out of that world. Like is he 70 thing? That's like, it was a cute little joke the first time. Now I think she just says it because she doesn't know what else to say about it. Because she's so far out of that world, and I don't think she has a great defense for herself. I think she's just in this spot where she's saying things that she thinks she believes, maybe, but maybe she doesn't necessarily. And when she looks at a guy like Kirk, making pretty valid points about the charity she's promoting. She's like, I have no defense of this. So the option is I go on and get roasted, admit I'm wrong, or just ignore it, and then my followers don't ever think I'm wrong.
Well, that makes what she's doing on a podcast even worse because she's not actually invested in this stuff. If she's just parroting what the PC police are saying, then it's dangerous.
I think that's what all of it is, though. I've heard so much on radio and everywhere else, this idea of like, well, I can't speak on this issue because I'm white or I'm this and I'm that. I'm a woman, I'm a man, whatever. And it's strange because it's like, well, you're paid to give your opinion. You're giving your opinion on everything else. Why not this? People can decide whether or not you know what the fuck you're talking about. They'll do that on their own. We know if you're not experienced or not an expert in the field. So give your opinion if you want, and if you don't do the regular podcast. That KFC radio sound we played today, there was stuff from Feidelberg we didn't play, where Feidelberg was kind of like, we shouldn't use comedy as an excuse not to talk about it, which I understand. But then 5 minutes later, they were talking about penis enlargements. So it's like you can't talk about comedy. You don't have to focus on this stuff all the time if you don't want to. I don't know what people from what do you guys think of how Barstool's handled this as a whole?
I think I think they're in a tough place.
Yeah,
they are now mainstream and have to be careful and have to toe the line in a way that they've never had to toe the line before. And it's like the Alba and Kirk thing. You're trying to figure out how can you wiggle your way through all of this stuff,
trying to please everybody,
still kind of seem edgy, but still not get creamed by HuffPost and all that. It's an interesting time for those guys because they are not the ballsy renegades that they once were.
But you know what? The big boss, was on the other day and said to Kirk, "I pretty much agree with everything you said."
Yeah, I know.
So maybe not from the tippity top down, but from the top of content down, you would think they could at least follow that lead and say, I don't necessarily disagree with everything he's saying.
It's just, Kirk had the best line about it this week when he was talking about Ellie. He said, it's like the hot thing of the week is to jump on this train. And that's what they're doing for the most part.
How are they handling things in Australia? Are they riding down there? Are they joining us, Manners?
Well, actually, we had an incident of the police being filmed arresting a young Aboriginal man here, and they, basically threw him to the ground and almost, like we saw in America, it was violent and it was caught on camera, and it has, we have had protests about it here. So it has resonated here. I think Kirk and probably Big Cat are the only two who should be allowed to talk about this in the whole Barstool, because they're the only two smart enough to deal with the issue. A lot of the shit, when we get these people that, spend the whole time talking about sport and stuff, and then they think, okay, because this is the hot issue of the week, they have to weigh in on it, you get these mistakes. And I think it's dangerous. And there's nothing wrong with a company like Barstool not engaging in something that doesn't suit them. I mean, I maybe you as Americans, you see it differently, but I wouldn't have had a problem if they decided to stay out of it.
No, it sounds like you're kind of agreeing with what I said all week, where you're taking people who are not equipped to talk about this. And I'm one of them, but I can talk about it in the way that I do it on the show, where everyone knows I'm not well versed in the subject. But if I had to do a show where I'm taking the reins and I'm going to educate people on, police brutality or any of these things, I'm not equipped to do that. So I would probably not do it. I might give my opinions on things and then move on, which is probably what more people should do. But for some reason, there's this feeling that they need to focus on it. And if they don't focus on it, or if they don't put a black box up on Instagram, then they're against the cause. And then people go at them for that. And there's a lot of fear of backlash on social media, because that's the world they live in. Like, that's reality to them, more or less.
But Ellie doesn't realize how easily she was manipulated by vagina. I mean, the fact that, she brought her on a show and gave her that platform, it's dangerous. So, I think you're better off leaving it alone if you can't handle it.
Do you think Gina will ever come on the show?
No, I don't.
How great would that be?
That would be tremendous.
It would be excellent, but I don't see that happening.
Where do you guys learn? Go ahead.
Oh. Well, I was just going to say, you don't always, if you don't feel completely well-versed, and, I don't read everything, I don't watch everything, but I think you just let your common sense guide you. And that's how I feel about this show. They don't pick an agenda and stick with it no matter what. They say, this situation, I feel this way. This situation, I feel a different way. And that's why I've always said I think it's common sense driven.
I'll go around the room. I'll start with Lauren, and I want to know, where do you rank Alba among all-time KMS enemies or villains, and where do you rank Gina among all-time heroes or characters, I guess?
Like a 1 to 10?
Sure, yeah.
Is that what you're looking for? Well,
yeah, I guess so.
So Alba, I mean, she's hot, right? We've got quite a few villains this week, actually, but
right.
I'm going to put her pretty high on the list. I'll put her at about an 8.
Wow, really?
Wow, that's typical catty minna lady bullshit.
That is how Lauren gets when there's another woman around. I remember last time she was on with Dee Dee, for God's sake. That poor woman.
Drove her out of Twitter.
All these girls speaking about each other, and it comes out on the Minifan show.
Lauren seems very nice and pleasant until the claws come out. I know how you ladies are.
It's funny because when like a Julie Beccaro comes along, I come out immediately because I feel like as a woman, you know, I can make that platform. I can say, hey, look, there's no sexism here. But God forbid, if I say one bad thing about another female, I'm considered jealous. I'm considered mean. It's bitchy. So I'm supposed to just, you know, I just love everybody.
How about Gina, though? What do you give her for a ranking as far as a character?
Oh, she's going to be hard to beat. She made a great entire episode. So I think she's riding high right now.
I might put her up there. I guess it would be a step below because the amount of episodes we've done on this. But as far as that one show, that to me was as funny as anything we've done about Steve or S.E. Robbins. Like the character of Steve, I put Gina... I don't know if I can put her in that realm, but maybe a small step below. Your thoughts, Murchison Mouse?
Yeah, I think that the episode was hilarious, and she was I'm not sure she's the gift that's going to keep on giving. I think she might be pretty shallow. I'm not sure.
I wonder. There's some Twitter videos and things like that. I wonder. The problem is we haven't found a podcast of her, not the podcast she was on, but her own podcast.
Yeah, and Alba, I put Alba low on a villain. You know, I consider the real villains the villains. I am crushed that the Florida trip is not happening.
Yeah, she's a grade A bitch, and she ruined a good bit. I'm with you.
She's a middle of the road villain for me.
Menders, your thoughts on both ladies?
Well, I'm Team Alba, and so she's not a villain at all. And I think that, again, the only villain here is probably Steve, who came up with this whole idea. So, yeah, and then I think Vagina's going to keep giving. I mean, she... because I think she likes, you know, talking. So she's going to keep putting out these sound bites. So you can just check in whenever you're short of material. I'm sure Vagina is going to say something stupid, and you can just, you know, bring it up on the show to lighten things up. Much better than Cullen. You know, I think it's fresh. It's new.
Yes. I think
she's AMS show.
She reminds me of like a, whether it's Trenny or Julie DeCaro. Like you said, you think the well is shallow, Murchison's Mouse, but I think there will be, anytime social justice issues come up or protesting issues come up, we just look at that Twitter and see what old Gina's saying. Yeah, I don't know if that ever dries up unless she just stops putting things on social media.
Right.
Another thing I was looking forward to talking to you guys about, especially because Menders
I'm here, Mike.
Oh, go ahead, BA. What do you got?
People have been a little bit quiet. Maybe it's the Friday nights, but I think there's for a fact you've never taken a women's studies class in college. You maybe never went to college. I don't know.
We had to take at Westfield State. You had to take
a women's studies class.
We had to take EGST classes. I remember one of my professors was Skogsberg. You can look that up.
I'm not going to. I will not.
I forget the other lady's name.
Okay. Lauren could take the class.
Also, Manners, don't listen to women advice from Manners when he puts the pussy on the pedestal. He's that guy. Lauren, a little bit of a question for you. Ward of the North asks, why are you in landscape mode and not portrait mode? Big questions. Big questions only.
Important question. Glad you asked.
Oh, am I supposed to answer that, or is that just a joke?
No, he asked that. Maybe he's trying to make me look bad. I don't know.
Oh.
A lot of people. She's on her phone.
I know, Justin. I know.
Yeah.
Murchison's mouse looks like a coke dealer who runs a rodeo. So that's
He does have that vibe.
he does. Like, I wish you could see him, Mike. He looks fucking. He's in a full suit. He's in a full suit with a cowboy hat.
I like it.
It's beautiful. Another guy, Blind Mike's Gold Chain, formerly Barstool Advisors Windbreaker, says Menners should wear a hat. That's a little offside. I don't condone that comment.
I don't get that. What's the joke there? Why should I wear a hat?
It could be about
Your hairline?
hair quality, hair thickness. Every time CT Rebel, every time I hear Gina, me too. I have a bad hairline as well. Every time I hear Gina, I think of speed dating from the 40-year-old virgin. So that's CT Rebel. That's CT Rebel's comment. And that's about it.
Thank you, buddy.
No problem.
We'll check back in a bit.
Anytime.
I don't like to hear that. Start hitting BA with some comments. I don't like to hear that it's a slow Friday night. But Merchant, before I get to the thing I wanted to talk about, Murchison's Mouse, how is the any song parody shows coming up?
So we are in the middle of actually filming some Doc Ellis videos, but we are going to film a video for Podcast Jesus in the coming weeks. But no, we don't have any plans because the other two members of the band, the drummer and the saxophone player, haven't been able to get together with us. We got one whose wife works at a place with a bunch of old people, and so the quarantine has kind of hurt the band practice time.
Oh no!
You have a real Yoko Ono.
That's true.
Will you guys be able to make the Wilbur on January 23rd?
Oh, yeah.
January 23rd?
I was out actually on my walk today listening to the show. As soon as I heard it, I stopped. I texted the guys. Everybody's all ready.
All right, so there's not going to be some broad telling you can't go for some reason?
No.
You're a lucky guy. Menners, I wanted your thoughts on this in particular because you're a bit of a troll yourself in all aspects of the word. But
that is unfair.
Zonker came up today.
Oh, God.
I don't know. Am I missing something? Has he snapped? Has he always been like this? Is he fucking with us? What's going on with Zonker? Do you have any idea?
Yeah, I think he might have snapped.
It appears that
I
way.
think the politics of the show really got under his skin. And I don't want to get into that issue because I don't know. I hate this whole left-right bullshit. America is always divided down those lines. It's a little bit different here, the politics. So, I don't know about that issue, but I just think, if I was Zonker, just let it go. I mean, okay, you disagree with what they said. You thought the DJT interview was soft, whatever. Okay, that's fine. Make a point, move on. There's no need to keep bringing it up. It's not like he's going to win any battle. It's just, I think he's snapped. It's just got under his skin.
I don't get that the whole Donald Trump Jr. thing.
I just don't know why he just can't move past it.
No, I said this today, and I know, there's some people that Kirk just wouldn't want to get in the argument with because they're boring or uninformed or whatever. But if you have a strong opinion like Zonker seems to, call the show and disagree. I get bring up that topic instead of saying for the 9th time, what's your favorite golf course in Maine or something?
Yeah.
Hey, I've got a thought on this.
I thought that he used to. It seemed like in the beginning he was in on the joke and he was going to kind of be good for the group and it was going to be kind of funny give and take. But my God, he is not funny anymore.
I can see if you're passionate about politics or whatever that you want to express those feelings, but directing it at the show like this just seems like a waste of energy. I mean, what Kirk's hasn't done anything wrong. So I think it's just a mistake. I don't like the way though Steve brings stuff to you and Kirk on the show. Like I know from experience that Steve often twists the correspondence in his favor. So I don't 100% believe what Steve said today on the show, that I don't know the correspondence between Zonker and Steve, but I am sure that it was mischaracterized by Steve because he always does that. Well,
say Justin, pop in for 1 second.
I was just about to say,
what did he say to you?
So he messaged me months and months ago. This is when he first came in. He messaged me months and months ago. He's like, so you're a Kobe guy, huh? And I was like, very much so. And I sent him a GIF of like Kobe Bryant dunking a ball. And then he sends me all these articles about Portnoy. And he's like, no wonder you like Portnoy. You rape apologist, blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, okay. And he's like, and I just kept saying like, okay, oh. And then he's like, man, why does no one hate me in this world? I'm not used to being a good legend. And I was like, I that's the problem I had with him from the start, is how like he was put up on this pedestal as if he was the dude bought a domain name.
Yeah, well, the
Right.
Mincels did it. The bloody Mincels, those dumb little kids, they got stars in their eyes because somebody, they thought they could get someone on important on their show.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
I
someone
also
in
think that's
Barstool
true.
lore, so they love
The
it.
NBA probably did it.
It's there is a weird, like, even what Justin was just saying, his interaction with Justin. I don't understand if it's a bit that we're not in on, but it just got annoying. Like, I got a message from him today, so I guess I muted him at some point just because the volume of tweets I was seeing was just too much. So I think I muted him, and he DM'd me today saying you should unfollow me. And I don't know, I didn't realize I hadn't, but I don't know if that was like some message. I don't know what that message was for. I get messages from him that I don't understand.
Kirk told us all to unfollow Zonker today.
Yeah,
Oh, so he was looking out for me.
Yeah, that's all. Yeah, I'm not going to unfollow Zonker because Kirk tells me to.
I didn't realize I was still following him. I forgot.
Just let it go. Let it go.
Lauren, when you see something like this as a true long-time Minifan, what do you think?
I just see someone who feels a little too self-important. And I agree that sometimes I can't tell if they're kidding or if he's kidding or not, because the comments in the past couple of weeks have got so critical that I find it hard to believe that that's trying to be funny. And even after, what was said about him on the show today, I checked his Twitter and he kind of tried to explain it like it was a joke. But the last sentence of his tweet said, "I'm not all they lie about. Don't kid yourself." Okay, you're not joking. You're not playing. You're just being an asshole. That's the bottom line.
Yeah, and what are we lying about? I have no idea. I don't understand. I don't know if he's doing a bit. I don't understand.
Well, Steve always lies. So every second sentence out of Steve's mouth is a lie. So
100%. I agree. I agree with Menders there.
I agree with Zonker on that.
on.
But yeah, what are the other trolls saying about this?
About Zonker, no one's really talking about Zonker. I'm gonna just say I had Zonker and the Mental Intel. We have a relationship, I guess.
Oh, right. It was your fault.
It was my fault. I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna go on the record. John told Zonker while we were trying to flirt with Lauren Lynn that I save dogs and do Meals on Wheels. That was a lie. So Zonker came into the Minifan verse on a lie. So maybe that would be a heartbreaker to Zonker. We could maybe he won't talk anymore. Who knows? I got a couple questions. Someone asked Kirk 5K 2020. Great commenter. He says, Menners, after the 5K, how were your nips with those nipple rings?
Well, I didn't.
It's a good question.
Sometimes in cold weather, when you got a piercing, your nipple goes really hard, and those sports t-shirts, it kind of rubs against it. I think it's good to put band-aids on them.
I think it's like a sports bra. Wouldn't the nipple ring be like a sports bra? It blocks the friction.
No, unfortunately not.
No,
How often do you have those in?
You get very aroused when your nipple goes hard.
Menders, I just want to clear some fake news. You only have one ring, correct? Because
my right side.
Okay,
Yeah.
I just wanted to jump in and make sure it's only one.
It's not.
Thank you, Justin. That's important work.
It's not the left ring like Carano.
No.
Okay.
No.
Do you always have those in?
Me, yeah, all the time, yeah.
I find that so
My
hard.
question, you
not
keep saying
totally.
those, which is plural.
Not plural.
Oh, right. I'm sorry.
Not
That
plural.
one. You always have that in. I apologize, Justin. Justin's very hung up on this.
Wow. Also, someone said, here's a statement I would never say. Mike and the Minifans is actually pretty good tonight.
All right. Woo!
I think this is BJ Boys burner trying to do like a coup on the show. It's the BJ Boys, the BJ.
Right.
Yes. And someone said, excellent point by intern Justin. I think that was intern Nick. So that was a little bit off there. But I want to say Zonker, he's misunderstood like the most of us. And,
God. Yeah,
and I don't know what to say. So Justin, hopefully he took me off by now.
I have one. I have one question for BA actually. Popping back up.
Oh fuck. Okay.
I just want to know, just because I'm curious, because I feel like there's some discussion about this every once in a while.
Sure.
Do you guys listen to every episode? All three of you on that show?
Me? Oh yeah, 100%. Like I'm not like so for me, I work like 9 to 5. I can't listen in the morning, so like I haven't listened today to this episode today because I'm doing this and I can't work. But I listen to every episode. I listen to multiple episodes. It's the only thing I listen to right now. And for that for you to question me on that, Mike, we're dead. You're dead to me. You're dead to me.
It's just a question. We just you Discord people get very offended at questions. I'm just asking questions. Thank you, BA.
Can I just say something about when he said Zonker's misunderstood?
What's that?
He said Zonker's just a misunderstood guy. Yeah,
I think he was fucking around, wasn't he? Bring him back in. Justin's mad.
No, I don't think he's
Bring him back in.
Justin, what the fuck? What do you think I'm here for? To do serious fucking insight and tell you how?
Why do you think he's misunderstood?
I'm not Ellie. I just didn't know what to say. I don't really agree with what Zonker's saying right now, but I like that he gave us 15K views, all about the views, mental intel, Uganda, Azerbaijan, we're worldwide. Okay, well, you can take me off now.
I think they're still buying views, by the way. The last episode I saw there had like 5,000.
Bye, Justin. Fuck off, Justin. There's some background noise. Goodbye, Justin. Dummy.
Lauren, are you to get us back on track here? For Christ's sake, are you excited for the drive-in?
Oh,
did you get tickets?
I got a ticket because I paid attention to what the ticket entailed. So yes, I have a ticket. I'm ready to go. I am extremely excited.
Are you making it? I assume Menners, you're not making it.
Unfortunately, the Australian borders are closed. Like you can't get out, even if you wanted to. So Ned Snark kindly offered for me to go with him in his car, which would have been fantastic. But leave the country. But I think the drive-through thing could work well with the Bachelorette if we can somehow tee up a date on that night.
So someone takes Blind Mike's groupie.
Oh, yeah.
I like that. That's interesting.
Driving the real traditional dates, and if the car gets a rockin', we'll know the date's gone well.
Yeah, that's a classic.
It's all coming together.
Perfect.
Literally.
Are you going to be there, Murchison's Mouse?
So I did not get a ticket, although I may be there. So I'll leave it at that.
All right. What do you guys? I guess what are you hoping to see there? Like I know Lauren, you were at Madawaska. Obviously, there's a lot of speculation around the Wilbur show. What are you hoping the drive-in show is going to look like?
Well, I'm hoping that intoxicated Mike doesn't make an appearance this time. So that would be very different.
I find that insulting. You would even bring it up.
That I was at. My favorite part of the Madawaska show by far was when they were doing the music. So I'm hoping there is some of that. Ooh. No pressure on our musician that is present.
You keep singing that song, Lauren. That's what I want to hear.
So I would love some of that. I'm looking forward to the social part, just to mingle. And the 2 times I've been to a live event, that's been very enjoyable as well. So I haven't been out of the house in 3 months. I'm very excited.
It'll be interesting to see how everything goes up there. I will say, if people want it, I can do a Mike and the Minifans. I'll be up there Friday, so if people are going to be up there, maybe I can do a Mike and the Minifans or something. So I will be up there. Here's what I want to ask you guys: if you didn't have a ticket, Lauren, and if you don't get one, Murchison's Mouse, would you be willing to make the drive to Madawaska? Because it's a long drive, and we won't physically be there. So is that something you
hoping there was going to be more in the way of simulcast? It was going to spread to like maybe the Andelman's Menden drive-in. That'd be a slightly shorter drive for me.
I do like this. So there's things I like and things I don't like about that. The things I like the idea of everyone getting a chance to do it. Yeah. But there is something added to making it an exclusive event. But if everyone's paying,
exclusivity is important. I can see the Madawaska thing. I think spreading it beyond that doesn't make sense. But
I would get one running in my old Western Mass stomping grounds. Let's spread this thing. Let give the people a chance. But yeah, I do like the idea of it being exclusive.
I had thought about an Australian screening of the drive-through. If we could get, because the Aussie Minifans are building.
Right. I love it.
We're probably into double figures now. I've
really
actually recruited a few listeners from my other podcast into the Minifan world. So it's slowly building. So maybe by then, a little Aussie Minifan event might be the way to go.
How has, because I feel like, Menners, you've lost your way, but you've become your own character. But you started as this guy that was going to recruit all these Australians, and now you're this guy that hates the fucking show.
Yeah.
When did that happen?
That's a good point.
Okay, really good, because this has really annoyed me. I don't understand how this has come up. All I said, I didn't like the Cullen episode, one episode. I listened to every other episode pretty much twice. I've said Kirk's the greatest broadcaster in the history of the world. I love you, Mike. The only person who, I'm not a fan of is Steve, but even then, I'm trying to move past that. So I don't understand why I'm seen as a troll of the show.
It seemed like lately you strayed from Kirk. I guess maybe the Cullen episode was the center of that. But it seemed like after that you started, or maybe even before that, you started being more and more critical of him, and it got to a point where some of your tweets, it was kind of like, well, why do you listen if you hate all these things about the show?
No, yeah, it's completely false. I love the show, love Kirk. I did get annoyed 2 weeks ago when he had those two short shows on Thursday, Friday, where he was just really pissed off at the Minifans. He was in a bad mood. You did that terrible emergency, Mike, and the Minifans. I was annoyed about that, but generally, I love the show. I do want to ask you, though, why has this sort of change happened that it seems like you, Steve and Kirk are sort of, I don't know, annoyed with the Minifans. You've sort of cooled on the Minifans. You're not interested in the YouTube shows anymore. You think all Minifans are assholes. I mean, where's all this come from?
Well, first of all, I wouldn't say that's true. I'm doing shows with you guys right now. I do a show with Minifans every week where I have them on. I had people on the show I did last night. I'm having Ted on Sunday. Like I interact with you guys a decent amount. I think I know the Discord hates me. I know that much. And anytime I talk about them, they seem to think I hate them. But all I've said about them is that it's not for me. I think it's just where people go to shit on things. So they should be able to do that without me going, "Nuh-uh, guys, no, that's not true about me." I'm not a huge fan of the Discord, but I wouldn't say I'm annoyed at the fans, but if you're sensing annoyance, where it comes in, I think, from my perspective, is that when you do things like the 5K or what am I forgetting that happened recently? But anytime
money for a sick child.
Oh, thank you, Warren. God, Jesus Christ. The man-cock thing.
Chapter in the Miniverse.
The man-cock thing where it's like,
yeah,
you're doing good things for the fans or for a sick fucking kid.
Oh
and you get any amount. And even it probably is 6 people on Twitter, but to get any amount over and over again, it's just like, shut the fuck up. Like, don't listen to the show anymore. So I totally get it.
That was a really ugly moment. I found that disappointing and troubling. And it is just, I don't care if it's 6 people. It should not be 6 people in that situation. The guy was up front. If you guys raise more money than I need, I'm giving it to other kids. I'm giving it to other 6 families. Fuck all those idiots. I was so pissed at that part.
Yeah, that was terrible. And that's a moment where it's like, I've heard people try and defend themselves and say, that's not what I was saying. I was just asking this or asking that. When you're raising money for a kid who's sick, it seems kind of like a fall in line moment. Not that you have to, you don't ask questions, but you wait until like, we had that. Do you remember we had that Julia Rose on?
A fall in line moment. I'm just going to write that down because the guy who's against cancel.
Well, let me listen to my explanation, Menners, and let me tell you. Tell me if you agree.
I'm going to defend the Discord a little bit for you after that.
Go ahead.
Of course you are, BA.
1 second though. Do you remember? You know who Julia Rose is? Do you remember that?
Yeah, that was the boobs lady.
The girl that showed her tits at the World Series.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who could forget?
Remember we had her on the show, and Kirk questioned her. And I think he kind of doubted where some of that money was going, but he didn't necessarily have the evidence to say you're scamming people. So maybe fall in line moment is the wrong term, but it's like when there's a sick kid involved, maybe wait until you have a little evidence to be like, this is bullshit. Where's the money coming from?
That's what I'm going to say.
Ignore those fucking people.
No,
if you've got 100,000 listeners, and you've got 6 people that are assholes, just fucking ignore them. That's right. The world,
That's what you should do, but that's also pie in the sky thinking a little bit.
Sorry, Manners.
No, go. Yeah, you go.
There was two people that questioned it. One was Dummy, one was Blind Mike Sneakers. Both
Right.
of them have talked to Manuk multiple times in the voice chat after that, have apologized. So that's what I'm saying. We're talking about two people that they knew they were wrong. They apologized after that. So like, what are we talking about right now? It's like one guy was trying to make a joke and one guy was like questioning one aspect of the GoFundMe little paragraph. And then after that, they've had multiple conversations with Manok, probably more conversations than each of you have ever had with Mancock. And I know that for a fact. So that's all I'm saying.
Coming in hot.
But that's all I'm saying. They've had
That's a good defense, BA.
they know him way more personally than you, and that's all I'm saying. So like, what to disparage these two guys, like it's wrong, and they admitted they were wrong, and like it should be over after that.
I will say this, BA, and you can bring this back to your boys. I think people think I know who they are when I'm talking about this. I don't know. I just mean people in general.
I don't think anyone does. I think,
okay, good. I don't know who I know those. I know who you're referring to.
I'm just talking about the situation because I was there in the moment. I'm actually. We won't go to get into this, but I was there in the moment when Kirk was talking to them, right. and I didn't agree with what they said, but I like those guys, and they've talked to Mancock maybe 10, 15 times after this whole thing went down. So like, let him be the judge of character in that situation. It's about his kids, it's about his family, it's about all that, and he has no problems with it. They all apologize. They all know he's a great guy, and it's like, so don't let two people who are actually really good guys like sully the name of the Discord.
Well, I hope that's all true. I like that defense. That's an impassioned defense by my guy. I like that.
But isn't one of the guys the same guy who started the Pizzagate stuff?
Here comes Justin.
Can we get rid of Justin? Bounce yourself and BA out of here, please.
Yeah. That's all I got to say. That's all I got to say.
Thank you, buddy. You're right, but I'm glad you called me out on that, Menners, though. My falling line moment was a bad term. But do you get what I'm saying?
Thank goodness. Justin mic'd me there, muted me there. Oh yeah, okay. I do get what you're saying, but I think that you shouldn't let a few people get into your head that much. Sure. And what is the derision now of the YouTube channel? You say, said it on the show last week. Oh, the YouTube channel's insufferable now. Oh, like
I said that.
Kirk begged us all to start providing content. A lot of people are doing it, and now because it gets a bit complicated, he's like, oh no, I'm just going to bail out on it. I mean, what's going on there?
I mean, as far as what Kirk thinks about it, you'd have to ask him. I don't really know. But I mean, people are still doing their shows, it seems like. It's still cranking out at the normal rate, more or less.
Yeah, but why did you say it was insufferable? Or, what the word you said?
I said it was insufferable?
It's something like that.
Maybe dealing with people more so. I don't know. I don't remember saying that. If I said that, I'm guessing it was dealing with the people who say that I don't have the right guests on, or I should have them on more, and then I invite them on and they don't do it. There's shit like that happens a lot where it's like, why isn't Mike answering these questions? And I say, well, come on, and they're like, well, I didn't mean me. So I guess maybe that's what I don't remember the quote that you're referring to.
I thought there was more that you, Steve, and Kirk were just sick of the whole YouTube network that you created. Kirk said a few times he's trying not to talk about it anymore on the show.
Yeah.
And I'm just wondering why, because we were all asked by Kirk to produce content, and there seems to be flipped now that we're all attention seekers. Well, which is it? Like, does Kirk want us to produce content for the channel, or does he not want it anymore? Like,
you have to ask Kirk that. There was a feeling for a couple weeks there that some of the people involved, it felt like people were more focused on like getting their shows together than caring about the show as a whole, I guess. And that becomes tough because they are doing the shows, so I guess you would care about them. But there was just a feeling of like, fuck the show, I want attention for my show now, which doesn't feel like how it should be.
Yeah, I may have done that.
A little bit, right?
I think one of my favorite things actually this week, it was a clip, I think. It was you, Menners, and Lauren, and you were interviewing Andy Mayo, and I laughed, and they didn't highlight it enough when you said, well, you are just being a dickhead. And I was like, yeah, you are just being a dickhead. That whole race thing, his rant, he was bitching about that. That was my favorite Menners moment maybe of all time.
Thank you.
My favorite Menners moment was him screaming at Andy Mayo.
I don't know why Steve at the end of it tried to turn it on me. Literally the last thing I said to Andy Mayer was, I can't agree with you, fuck off. So,
yeah.
But good news. I just want to announce that Mena's Live is back.
I
So
read that.
live rights were unceremoniously stripped away from me and unfairly stripped away from me.
Now,
I
how
did
did this happen?
wrong, and I've struggled through these pre-recorded shows. Trying to just get a morning slot going for the channel, and now I get live rights back, which is what I want. I can go back, so it's going to be 10 p.m. Wednesday nights live, taking calls with a really good producer. I'm very excited.
Now, how did you get these rights? Who
Well,
the fuck signed off on this?
I just asked Nick to go to Steve, and I actually sent Steve an email and said to him, I won't slander the sponsors, and even I've said Steve's family are now off limits. What a great guy I am.
It sounds like a fall in line moment to me.
Well, I can. Steve's family's off limits. I think that's the least I can do to get live rights.
Yeah, I think it's
That's
great.
fair.
I just think the right move is to pick a day and a time and stick with it, because I try to follow everybody's YouTube stuff, but that one seems to change a lot. And I know it's because part of it is they took things away from you. And maybe it's also the time change, the time zone difference. I get confused as to what the morning is.
When the Serious show happened, it kind of changed the release time of the KMS show. I was trying to do a morning show that was to fill the gap between, when you wake up at 11 when the show drops. And then they went to Serious and they started dropping the show at 6 a.m. So I switched it, but now it's going to be Wednesdays, 10 p.m. I've moved it an hour earlier because intern, a good guy from the Midwest in Kansas. So past 11 p.m. is a no-go for him. I think all of Kansas, the electricity's turned off at 11. So I'm going to go 10 to 11.
But does this seem fair? Is your first episode going to be you actually running?
I ran a month ago.
Oh, you didn't run.
You
You bobbed your head. You bobbed your head and
You're
shifted your arms a little bit. You're claiming you ran for that?
I really tried to keep running the best I could. Like I was, sort of running on the spot as best as I could, trying to do a show. I'm like, you can't even do a show not running. So imagine trying to run.
The thing is that I do hear little people do have hip issues. So
What's that, buddy? I'm sorry.
I hear little people have hip issues, so it might be that might be the running place.
Can I just say he gets so much shit for being small, and I am substantially smaller than Menners is, and no
You're above 5 feet, aren't you, Lauren?
I am so turned on right now. Like Lauren Minifan, it's fantasy.
Don't sexualize them on my program.
10,000 miles away.
Anything else you guys want to get to before we get out?
Yes, I actually did want to know if anybody noticed, and I know Mike, you probably had a hard time seeing this, but I think I saw Kirk was wearing jorts on Wednesday. I was like, who the fuck is he, Debbie Gibson? I mean,
my question is, how would you have noticed this? He was behind his desk.
Instagram videos, you could see him rocking back and forth. I could see the little folded up bottoms of his jorts. I was like, what the fuck is that?
Huh. Well, maybe I'll have to ask him about that. I can't confirm. I don't remember if he was wearing. I did not take notice. My eyes aren't that great. If you haven't heard, so I don't know. But I don't. Maybe he's a jorts guy. What's wrong with that?
Oh, God, a jorts guy. Him and Pete Shepard.
Will you lose respect for him if he's a jorts guy?
Let's not be ridiculous.
Lauren, anything else before we get out of here?
I've got something for you, Mike.
Okay, good. Lauren, you first.
Well, BA just talking, so I don't know if he needs to say something. He looks like
I'm doing the final thoughts. I'm trying
to wrap up with BA.
I'm trying to run like Manners, so like you can.
Oh, I thought you were really excited to say something.
Yeah, that's usually how I am.
No, I'm all set. I'm sorry.
Lauren, something.
I'm still a little bit upset about the Minuk fundraising situation, and I don't think that it should have been ignored when people were criticizing it. I know BA said that they know him personally, things were said privately, but what we heard publicly was unacceptable, and I'm glad it was addressed.
Well, that's the thing is, I'm not talking about. Maybe I am, maybe I'm not. I don't know. I'm not talking about in particular two guys in Discord. I'm saying in general, when people are saying, "Where is this money going? The kid's out of the hospital," any of that shit. It's a weird thing to say. It's a weird thing for that to be your instinct publicly.
Ton of money for him.
I want to say a couple things. One, it is way harder to run on the spot than run like this. So I give all credit to Manners. He's a god amongst men, he made it look good. He does it just with his head, not his shoulders. I can't believe it. It's fucking awesome. Another thing that nothing's been addressed this whole time. Murchison's mouse, is the guy beside you dead? People are saying he's a Weekend and Birdies guy, and by people I say Andy Mayo. Andy Mayo's retired, but he's been in the YouTube comments this whole time.
Oh, wow.
He's under his alias Andrew. He doesn't think I know that it's him, but I know it's him. That's why you hired me, Mike. I'm the best in the business.
Excellent work, BA. I've heard rumors, and then Andy Mayo can correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but I have heard rumors that Andy Mayo was sometimes going to YouTube shows just to give it a dislike before it starts. And then leaves. I've heard rumors. I don't know if that's true or not.
People are saying that. Mike. I've heard on the streets. I've heard the same
there's
thing.
chatter around about that.
The second thing I want to say, Manners, 100% agree with all your takes about the YouTube. Even with me, as you said, I'm a YouTube slut. It was hard to listen to the show and be on all those YouTube shows at the same time. So I totally agree with what you're saying about the YouTube. And the last thing is Murchison's mouse. Let's get your buddy to say his final thoughts, or like a little bit of thoughts. What's going on with your buddy right beside you?
Yeah, what's your buddy?
This is my sound guy. He's a quiet guy for a sound. He set me.
Where's the sax? Where's the saxophone guy? Where's the saxophone?
The saxophone guy's quarantining still.
Pussy. Sorry, Lord.
So Mike,
the BA takes over. Let's get a comment from the sound guy. Go ahead.
That was about it. I think some other people had stuff to say, but it wasn't worth me saying it right now. So thanks, Mike, for having me back.
Thank you, buddy.
Hey, and I want to say before we sign off here, if things don't work out for me, Ned Snark, if you're listening, I'll hop in your car and head up to Sacco. You let me know.
I'd fuck him too, Murchison.
I'm not sure I'm going there, but I do like the show, so.
We all fuck Ned Snark. Now let's get this thing back on track here and end with Manners.
Manners has the final thoughts.
Just finally, Mike, I know a while ago I said, I was worried about my brand coming on Mike and the Minifans.
Yeah.
And I've been thinking a lot about this, and I think you're very talented on the shows you go on. But I think as a producer, you have little or no vision when it comes to producing. Like, I think you find it hard to step back and think what would make up a good show. And look, that's fine. You're in the shows. You're amazing in the shows. You can't do everything. So I think that, and I'll give you some, reasons why.
Go ahead.
Examples of what you've done wrong. But I would think that you should look at actually getting a new producer in, replace Justin with someone who'll actually step up and guide the show a little bit. And so when you say, let's do an emergency show on a Thursday afternoon on Twitter,
You're obsessed with that,
look, you produce, no, shut up for a sec. You producer goes, look, you've spent months building up the Saturday time slot. Why, when you get some juicy stuff, would you ditch the Saturday time slot and move it to Thursday afternoon when no one's going to watch? So,
not a bad point.
So that's one of the things. Then you ended up doing a terrible call show. Sometimes, you would be better off mixing your guests up. So just having, 2 in and then 2 out. Instead of having these, I turned on and looked at some of the last shows when you had like 5 people on the screen for the whole show.
Yeah.
And it just gets too much. One show you had an issue with Justin, which you started the show talking to fucking Justin for 10 minutes. Like,
but Manners, haven't you done that? You've done that 100%.
I do. Okay, shut up for a minute, BA. You had a great panel. If you had flipped the order and started with your panel and finished,
right? I remember you being critical.
Everyone would have been happy. When you had Kirk's brothers on, you wasted them. You had no angle. Basically, I think you need guidance and a producer that wasn't such a fucking. I don't know, that someone that would stand up to you and say, no, Mike, I think you should do it this way would really help you. And I actually think, you're very important to this channel. You're on, you're Kirk's sidekick. So, actually what you do on this channel is very important. And get somebody with a bit of mojo. Might be a good chance to get a new producer.
I think I have a question from the comments after Lauren.
Let Lauren go in first.
Oh, well,
Manners is my producer.
I know. Oh, that's what I was going to say, Mike. That's what I was gonna say.
I just wanted to tell Murchison's Mouse I have room in my car too if you need a spot for the drive-in show.
All
So-
right, I love it. Thank you, Lauren.
I was
Lauren,
gonna say,
Menace, I'm sorry I quit your show.
And then the
Hey,
next thing
get
is
out of
Mike.
here, get out of
Next thing is Mike.
I like that point by Menners, though. I don't think that's an unfair
What-
point.
what-
Mike,
So you
drop
Mike,
the mic. Shut up for a minute. Drop the mic, right? So you have, which I actually think Drop the Mic has a real good place on a Sunday night. You're winding down from the weekend, and it's a nice little relaxed chat with you and either a comedian or talking about comedy.
Right.
So you get the Rad Dude Cast guys are on that are great.
Yeah.
Why didn't you just hold them off till Sunday night, air it Sunday night, then air that shithead Mark Norman the Sunday after, and you have 2 great weeks of shows. Instead, you release them both in the same week. The Dude Cast one got lost. I just think you need to get a new intern, a better producer. I like Justin. I'm a big Justin guy, but you need someone who's willing to guide you to do consistently better shows.
To be fair, the Rad Dude Cast episode got about the same amount of views. But I understand what you're saying. Yeah, go ahead.
I think I haven't seen that passionate of a plea to be part of the show since John from Scranton tweeted out that he quit his job to be an intern on the show. Menners, if you want to be Mike's producer, you should just
I don't wanna
stop
be
beating,
his
stop
producer.
beating around the bush and be Mike's producer. Just
You
ask
should
him
actually
straight
get
up. Stop
a young,
this innuendo. Don't do this
no,
innuendo,
fuck
Menners.
off.
You
You
just
get
want to be
a
his
young woman out of college who's looking to produce some shows will actually give Mike some guidance. That's
I think,
my,
Justin could be it. I think Justin has some good ideas.
So Mike,
look at that face there. Look at that fucking face. Can he guide anyone?
Mike, so
What's
if
up,
I
Justin?
If I told you, hey, we're not doing this tonight because we're supposed to do it this Saturday.
No, you could suggest it though.
That was a
No,
bad
I
point,
tell you
Justin.
this.
That was a
I'm
bad
your
point.
producer.
That was a bad point.
No, I wouldn't want you telling me things. I would not like that. But you could suggest things for sure.
Okay, Manners, I'm sorry I quit your show. I'm sorry I questioned your mental health. I really apologize.
Oh, is that what
biggest
this is?
mistake.
Yeah, I thought
My
Menners was
biggest
making good
mistake.
points. I didn't realize this was a Justin
Thank
thing.
you.
Oh, it
I've got
was
nothing against Justin.
I
He shouldn't have
apologize.
quit my show, but whatever. That's fine.
I
I
apologize. This
just
all
have.
happened after I quit
I
a show.
think Mike and
I
the
apologize.
Minifans could be better with a better producer.
Well,
And
Menners, I have a
I
question
don't
for
think
you.
you're a producer. Like
I have
you're
a
a talent. You're not a producer.
I have a question for you. And Justin.
Okay, so this is a shit show right now. So as the producer, I think I should, play the
Absolutely right, Justin. The
gonna
kid's
say
getting a job.
Alba should be the producer. Justin, put my little bird.
Now, Justin would have kicked like 3 people out by now if he had any guts here. My guy. Bye, everybody.
Another tough day at work today. Stephen Kirk think I suck. Throw back a few wobbly pops, feeling down on my luck. And the interns ruin every show. But it's still where we wanna go. It's Mike and the Minifans. 'Cause nobody had any better plans. You wanna be with DC and our aim in a hand. The host can't see it's Mike and the Minifans. And nobody's seen real MHB. This whole thing is a sham. You never see him pee, it's Mike in the Minifans.